Today I'm going to tell you how local media thinks Oklahoma will perform in the 2018 season, as well as the 5 storylines to look for at Big 12 Media Days, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folks? It's RJ Young. I am not on a stat mill. This is your place for Oklahoma football news and analysis. So consider hitting that like and subscribe button. So the first storyline you need to know from Big 12 Media Days is we're probably going to talk about coaching stability. Every single coach in the Big 12 last year is in the Big 12 this year. However, so this is a proven year for Kansas coach David Beatty as he welcomes in a new athletic director and former Arkansas athletic director Jeff Long, who expects to compete for and win Big 12 titles in something other than basketball. I think short of winning 10 games this year, David Beatty's going to lose his job because, well, it's really hard to keep your job when you don't make bowl games on a consistent basis. Plus, it's Kansas, and who expects Kansas to be good? But a guy who does make bowl games on a regular basis also could lose his job. Cliff Kingsbury probably needs to step up his game for Texas Tech, and I think he's gotten a pass because he's a favorite son from there, and when he got to Texas Tech, he came in with a splash. Now, yes, Kingsbury has made bowl games, but in his 6 years at Texas Tech, he's won just 1, and that was back in 2013. And Texas Tech has had back-to-back losing seasons. So it will be interesting to see how both David Beatty and Cliff Kingsbury try to bat away questions about being on the coaching hot seat in 2018. The next story you're probably going to hear a lot about is this the year West Virginia can actually put together a Big 12 title run? The West Virginia Athletic Department has been very, very aggressive about trying to get quarterback Will Greer's name out there for Heisman, but I don't believe in Will Greer, and I'm not sure that I believe in this West Virginia team either. Because getting to the conference championship game is one thing. Ask Texas Christian about that. Winning the conference championship is something else entirely. Also, ask Texas Christian about that. This is Oklahoma's conference. We run it. And that means that West Virginia would have to beat Oklahoma, and I don't think they can do it. The next storyline you're probably going to hear a lot about is Texas is back, except Texas is not back. Texas has a quarterback problem. They don't know who the starting quarterback is, and whether it's Shane Buechele or Sam Ehlinger, that person wasn't very good, so you're really just warming the seat for Cameron Rising or Casey Thompson, but Casey Thompson looked better than Cameron Rising in the spring game. So Tom Herman has a problem at quarterback, among other things. Now, yeah, they made the Texas Bowl, and they won the Texas Bowl, and Texas punter Michael Dixon was the Texas Bowl MVP, but with the attrition that Texas has had, Tom Herman's year 2 could look worse than his first year. I also expect you to hear a lot from Bob Bowlesby about the long-term future of the Big 12, especially when we're talking about expansion and which teams or what teams or any teams could join the Big 12 in the future. But bear this in mind. 10 members in the Big 12 took in $37 million in revenue each. And I don't see them wanting to carve off any more of that for 2 more schools that aren't really going to propel it to the front of the line. However, if Arizona and Arizona State or Utah or Nebraska or Arkansas came knocking, you'd have to consider that. And the last thing that you're probably going to hear a lot from all angles is Lincoln Riley's comments on Georgia, which were blown way out of proportion, but folks are probably still going to bring that up because Big 12 Media Days kind of sucks as far as stories go, and this is the sexiest story on the plate today. The crux of Lincoln Riley's comments about Georgia is that if they played in the Big 12, they would not be a top 5 defense. And he gave a long and nuanced and basically informed opinion about why that would be so. But because the headline is Lincoln Riley says Georgia wouldn't be top 5 in the Big 12, that's what folks will run with, and that's what Lincoln Riley will continue to try to educate people at when he goes to the dais at Big 12 Media Days. Now let's get into what local media said about Oklahoma's chances this season. And all this comes from a Bill Hastings column that I will link in the description below. Be sure to tell me what you think of what local media said about Oklahoma's chances in the comments below. So Bill put this question to folks who work in TV and radio. And the question was, what happens this season with the OU Sooners? Cade McFarland at KJRH said this: the Sooners win the Big 12 again, but lose 2 games and fall just short of a 3rd college football playoff appearance. Kyler Murray is spectacular at times, but struggles to find the consistency that OU was accustomed to with Baker Mayfield. Loses 2 games, but didn't say which games. I don't see 2 losses on the schedule. Mike Steely of the franchise at 1079 said this: Oklahoma finishes 11-2 and just misses the college football playoff. Sooners fans blame the Jordan brand, and Mike Stoops probably. Brendan Radley Hiles becomes the Sooners' best defensive chess piece since Roy Williams. Radley Hiles will make plays reminiscent of what Tyrann Mathieu, that's the Honey Badger, did at LSU. Okay, mostly accurate. Except, again, with this 2 losses thing, I don't see 2 losses on this schedule. Oh my god, I'm gonna actually read this one out loud. Dean Blevins at Oklahoma City's KWTV said this: how well does OU replace not only the extraordinary playmaking of Baker Mayfield, but his underappreciated ability to raise the level of play of teammates with his indefatigable will to win. So Dean's assessment ended on a question when he was asked to give an answer. So he answered a question with a question. Be better, Dean. Mark Rogers at the OKC Sports Animal said this: Rodney Anderson will lead the Big 12 in rushing and finish in the top 5 for the Heisman. Nothing from me on that one. That's it for me. Deuces.